and what really happened inside everything, because I know there was all this Brian Peck information and this documentary. And if you feel comfortable, could you share about what happened?
Yeah, so it was the second season of Drake and Josh. Of the Amanda Show. Second season of the
before Drake and Josh.
Before Drake and Josh. Second season of the Amanda Show, and there's what's on set what's called a dialogue coach, and there's somebody that's on set that you can run lines with. That's there to. They're just there to kind of help you memorize your dialogue and. If you have something to do, they can act as a stand-in for you. And he came onto the show. No relation to Josh Peck. I know that gets a little confusing. But yeah.
You're talking about Brian.
Yeah. And Brian came onto the show. And at first, he was... He's very, very connected in Hollywood. He'd been working for many years, and he had great relationships with famous producers and directors and actors, and he just had funny stories. He knew so much about the history of Hollywood, and there were things, he got along with everybody really well, but then. He started really integrating himself into my life. He created a wedge between my dad and I, telling me that my dad was stealing my money and parents shouldn't be their kids' managers, and he doesn't want him to be the studio doesn't want my dad to be on the set because he's too involved, and because a lot of the parents would just be in the green room or in another room while the kids were on set working, and but my dad was always, if he would be sitting in that chair right now.
Of course.
He's always near me, watching what's going on. And Brian was expressing, that's not where the parents are supposed to be, and he gets in the way, and as a kid, you're trusting that this person knows what he's talking about because he's been in the business for so long. So many people respect and trust him.
How old were you?
13. 13, okay. 13, wow. 14. And so he became my dialogue coach. He became my acting coach. I would often go to his house and have... if I had an audition, we would work on dialogue.
Spending the night?
Not yet. My dad was always there. My dad was always, if I was working on dialogue, my dad would be sitting on the couch, always within eye distance, always.
Just watching.
Yeah, just watching. And he started to feel uncomfortable with just the way that Brian would interact with me. And he would tell the network, the people at the network, hey, I haven't seen anything that's crossed the line, but I just don't feel comfortable with the way that I'm seeing Brian interact with my son. He's very touchy. He's always got his arms around him. He's always finding an excuse to take him somewhere else. Let's go work on this dialogue. We'll go in this other room over here and all this. So he just wasn't feeling comfortable. And the network's response was, you don't understand, Brian's gay, and he's just a very touchy-feely person, and that's just his personality, and there's nothing you need to worry about. You're being homophobic, and, it's not, this is Hollywood, and we have many different people that, we're a melting pot. You have to have respect for everybody and not judge people. And so my dad was just like, okay. And then he would see something and tell the network again, and then he would get the same response.
Wow.
And so Brian, I think, started catching wind of that my dad was raising red flags to the network. So he really impressed on me, your dad's a problem, your dad's causing issues, he's stealing your money, you did this and you did that, you should have all this money in the bank and all this, not, knowing that at 13, 14 years old, I don't understand taxes and agent percentages and management fees and all of these things that go into it. So he convinced me that, oh, okay, my dad, and there's so many horror stories in Hollywood of parents stealing their kids' money and their kids turning 18 and having no money and working for all of their lives. So I didn't want that to happen.
He was manipulating
completely
a 13 years old kid.
Yeah, totally convinced me that my dad needs to be out of the picture and he needs to be managing me and introducing me to the right agents and producers and directors and getting me the roles, and kind of guiding my career, because this is what you want to do and I can help facilitate you to get to where you want to go. And so eventually I parted ways with my dad, and Brian basically stepped in and everything was normal. And well, I mean, in hindsight, wasn't that normal. But to me at that time, I didn't feel like I was in any danger. I was just doing what I do. And we were going to auditions, and my mom lived in Orange County, which is an hour away from LA. So Brian was like, no, I can take him to the audition. Like, you don't have to drive all the way up to LA. And then it started to get to where, oh, well, he's got 3 auditions today. We're going to be done late. Why doesn't he just stay at my house? I'll bring him home in the morning. And I was feeling comfortable because I would stay at Brian's house and nothing would happen. I mean, we'd get home, I'd watch some TV, I'd crash on the couch, and
where you just slept in that moment?
On the couch in the living room, and he would be in his room, and everything was like totally normal. But there were major warning signs that I didn't realize, and I guess my mom didn't realize. That, like, for example, I was dating a girl at the time, and now at this point I'm probably 14 and a half, and I was dating a girl, and she, Brian was telling my mom, because my mom was very Christian and values and didn't want me, having sex before marriage or, doing any of this stuff with my girlfriend. So he latched onto that and was like, oh, you need to keep Drake away from his girlfriend because they're just trying to sneak off into the woods. And if you want Drake to not be doing those things, he needs to spend more time with me and he shouldn't be around his girlfriend. And so he started doing things like that to where he could get more time with me. And then one morning, I woke up and I was on the couch, and one morning I woke up and I was being sexually assaulted. And at that moment, everything changed, and I was like, wow, my life's never going to be the same. And I don't know how, I'm so entrapped in this situation because he's so connected. He's so, everybody loves this guy, and I don't know what to do now. And from there, I was basically trapped, and it became about a year of just perpetual and abuse, and it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And
did you tell him something?
Yeah, I mean, with this situation, it's, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, it'll never happen again. It was a lapse in judgment, and I'm so sorry, it'll never happen again. And then it just continued, and I couldn't tell my mom, oh no, I don't want to go over to Brian's house, because then why? What's going on? What's happening? And I was so afraid of just everything. You know, what are people going to think of me? What are people going to say? Am I going to be able to do what I love to do? Am I going to lose everything that I've worked on? Am I going to be demonized in this Hollywood world? And are people going to believe me? Just everything that you deal with. And at such a young age, I didn't know what to do. And so that went on for quite a long time. And I was just totally lost. That's when I think everything started to spiral out of control for me. I started.